Hey, I'm Alex Radical from BoardGameCo, and it's another week in review. This one not on the couch, which is because it's late. I'm tired. I just filmed an unboxing. Stick around on Tuesday to check that one out, and you'll see that's why I'm holding the knife. I still have my coffee, and I was tired enough not to move the setup and gear all the way to the couch. All the way is a very, very strong term. It's right there. But whenever I move to the couch, it does involve moving a mic, 2 lights, and the camera, and then back, of course. So, the week in review. The week in review is slightly different week in the review this week. The topic of the week is instead going to be talking about popular culture, things I've watched, things I've been enjoying. I'm going to be putting that at the end of the video instead of the middle. That way, anyone who doesn't want spoilers can skip it. And I'll be telling you what I'm talking about before I talk about it, so you'll have the option to click away, to pause, do all those things so that I don't completely ruin your MCU experience, or at least MCU experience for those that, well, there's parts of it. We'll get to it. So anyways, starting off the bat, just news and week in review, all those things, things going on in the industry as well as on this channel. Last week was the first week that I really leaned hard into the revised schedule. Instead of having a packed Saturday, a packed Tuesday, and then like one video a day for the rest of the week, I started doing two videos a day. Well, not always. For the most part, 2 videos a day. Those 2 videos being a main video in the morning and then a game-specific video, a should you back it, a review, or whatever it is later in the day. That way we have general content on the channel as well as a game-specific content, 2 videos a day. We're going to see how it goes. I'm going to be keeping my eye on it. I don't want to flood people with content and then have them not paying attention, because I know myself, and I know that if there are channels that put out too much content, I sometimes choose just to watch none of it or less of it. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on it. We'll see. It's something I'm keeping an eye on. I want to see how that goes and just get a feel for the way the channel goes in that sense, and just people's general viewing behaviors and how that affects it. From there, a few small things. Some of them I should have talked about last week but missed. To begin with, we have the Steam Deck. This is not really board game news, but for me it is board game news, because for me the Steam Deck is going to be not Stream Deck, the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck is coming from Valve. They are putting out basically like a Twitch competitor or something like that. Twitch, I mean, basically it's a handheld gaming device that utilizes your Steam library to a degree. I don't know how much it utilizes your Steam library, but I will say this: if it can play Slay the Spire, I may get it as that being the justification alone. I believe you can get Slay the Spire on the Switch either way, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird that way. I don't know. I'll be paying attention to the Steam Deck. I'm intrigued by it. I like Slay the Spire a lot. So they still have that board game coming at some point. It's been pushed off again and again. It was originally going to be on Kickstarter in April, and it keeps being pushed off, but hopefully the board game is good. But as far as the video game is excellent, and I would get the Steam Deck just to play that alone. Other than that, we have a few other things in terms of just general news or tidbits. The Orange Nebula had a wormhole is opening announcement. Now, I don't know what that's about. For all I know, it's just a sale. For all I know. But I also know that they announced earlier in the year that they have like their own IP something or other coming. So maybe the wormhole's opening is a sale. Maybe it's the announcement of the new IP. I'll tell you more about it next week once I actually know more about it. Everdell, Starling Games. Actually, that wasn't planned, but speaking of which, I have 4 games on the table. These are going to be the games on the couch segment, except they're on the table now. We'll talk about them at the end of the video. But Everdell, Starling Games, announced that they're coming out with a bunch of cards and puzzles in the Everdell universe. I don't really have an interest in cards. I do like puzzles in general, and I like Everdell art, so I may pay attention to those. We'll see. Paleo, again, genuinely not planned. This was actually really legitimately not planned to have these 2 on the table. Paleo has an expansion coming out. They announced an expansion. I still have to officially review Paleo. Haven't done that yet, but I am enjoying it so far. I want to get some more plays in, and we'll talk about it more at the end of this video specifically, but they announced that they have an expansion coming. Lastly, Golem. I played, is it Golem? I think it's Golem. Golem. I don't know. It depends on which pronunciation you're using. In Hebrew, it's more of a Golem, but I think typically people usually say Golem. But either way, a Golem by, I'm sorry, I always forget the names, but the designers behind games like Coimbra, games like Lorenzo Magnifico, Coimbra, Solkin, a whole bunch of games. What's the other one? The other one is Grand Austria Hotel. A bunch of those designers together, they did Golem, and I had a playthrough of Golem on the Facebook stream or whatever with Cranio Creations, I believe. I believe Cranio is the company. Cranio. But I had a chance to play that, really enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to it. It's not yet released. I believe they're releasing it at Essen. I should be getting a review copy to cover, but overall, I really enjoyed it. Speaking selfishly, most games with a Jewish theme, and a golem is a Jewish theme. It's going to be the rabbis created a golem, and they inscribed the word MS truth into their heads, and they basically became these not living, but these Frankenstein's monsters kinds of situations to defend the town. And golem kind of doesn't really take a defense aspect, takes more of a general, work and labor aspect to it, which I believe they had that too. And then there's a little balance of keeping them in control, that if you don't keep them in control, they run amok and cost you too much. So you kind of want to utilize them. They did a really good job integrating the Jewish theme and backstory into a very, very heavy Euro game. And I really liked it selfishly because, like I said, most games with the Jewish themes tend to fall on either the lighter side or just the not so great side. So speaking selfishly, I like having a Jewish theme on a game that is actually a very solid, good game. I'd be interested either way, but it's just a nice extra for me personally. But either way, that was a fun game there. And I think that is going to be all the news stuff. Not a ton of news this week. I know they had some other things coming, but that is basically what I have on my radar as far as this week. This is usually the part where we talk about the topic of the week, but like I said already, that will be at the end of the video. Timestamps down below as always, which means we get to the what I played section of the video, which has a few things. Now, I know I forgot a whole bunch of things on Saturday because I only have 2 games logged for Saturday. I played more than 2 games. I can't remember what I played though. So, and that's because in general, I don't log on Saturday because Saturday, it's a religious day. I don't touch anything on phones or, it's a day of rest. I don't touch phones or electricity or light or any of that stuff. We use lights, but we use them in the sense that they are on already. We don't turn them off or on. So no logging plays on my phone, no writing things down, none of that stuff. But usually after Saturday, I try to remember what I played and type it in. But this past week, I didn't really do anything after Saturday. I went on a drive. I went directly from Saturday to a road trip down to IV Games to go ahead and play Mythic Mischief with a bunch of content creators, play a bunch of other games. So it took me a few days till I actually had a chance to log, and I forgot things. So this week's definitely missing stuff. Either way, going back to where we left off. So I got like 5 games of My City. My wife and I started playing My City with one of our couple friends who enjoy games, and we've been cracking through My City. We got 5 plays done in the first session, and we're going to keep going at it. We had Divinus. My wife and I got Divinus play 1, I think play 1. Did I even log play 2? Yes, I did. Good. Divinus play 1. So I have the first play of Divinus we got played. In fact, you may or may not have seen that. It's on the channel already. I have to do a review of it. I filmed my review. When's my review going up? My review's going up tomorrow. Cool. The Whatnot Cabinet. I got a game of the Whatnot Cabinet with Rena, which I've been trying to get a game of it with her for a while. Hopefully we'll be doing, I've played it a few times with Ricky and Shira already, but I haven't played it with Rena yet. So I got a game of it with her, and hopefully we'll be doing a playthrough and review on the channel. Western Legends. Got another play of Western Legends in, this time with the Anti-Up expansion. I'll have a review coming soon on that. I wanted to get some plays in with expansions before I actually cover it, but I have that now, so hopefully I'll have a review coming soon. We may or may not give some more expansion stuff a play. I don't know. No guarantees. It just depends timing-wise what I end up doing first. Filming a review or playing more games of it. We have Decrypto. I got in my first game of Decrypto, finally. I've been trying to get a game of Decrypto in for a long time. Decrypto is a fun party game, supposed to be equivalent, better, or worse, or basically adjacent to Codenames in the experience it's bringing you. It's a bit of a clue-giving, team-based game. You're going to need a minimum of 4 players. Ideally, it's probably plays better with 6 to 8, but minimum 4, and it basically involves two teams going at it, trying to crack each other's clues back and forth as you give just enough information to kind of deduce the pattern. Very clever. A little bit hard to explain. It's really not intuitive, but once you get it, it's really solidly fun to go through. I think I like Codenames better. I think everyone I played it with likes Decrypto better, but either way, they are definitely very close. We had Legend Academy. Got some more games of Legend Academy in, this time with Jeremy Howard down in Mythic Games and IV Games Studio. Speaking of which, we got a few plays of Mythic Mischief in. Mythic Mischief, pay attention for content on that coming soon. Really enjoying that one so far. It's easily my favorite IV Games game so far. Although that's not necessarily a testament, because Moonrakers I think is great. I have to do a review of Moonrakers. I think Moonrakers is great, but at a specific player count with the right people. Because of the negotiation aspect, I think it really thrives as a 4-player game with people who are going to play it right. I think at 5 players, it's way too slow. I think at 3 players, you don't have the level of negotiation I would want, and you need the right people for it. So I'll have a review on it coming soon, but overall, Moonrakers is very good with the right people. And then Veiled Fate, I've only played Veiled Fate once. Overall, I wasn't too taken in by it, but that's also because I think strategic deduction is, as a concept, strategic deduction is a concept of where you want to figure out what people are doing, but it's not required to win. I've played it in a few games so far, and I've never loved the mechanic of strategic deduction, of that kind of figuring things out. It hasn't worked well for me. I always have problems with it, and those problems I had in Veiled Fate as well. I like the game around it, it's a problem for me, the core concept of it. But that means Mythic Mischief, by default, ends up being the best IV Games game for me so far. But more content on that soon when we cover that. My City, got in like 5 more plays of My City, so it's a whole bunch of way into My City now at this point. My City, for context, each game is going to be roughly 25-30 minutes long, and it's about 24 games, I think is how long the game is. I'm pretty sure it's 24 games. Either way, we'll go ahead and go through it. I'll probably review it when I'm done. So far, I'm enjoying it. It's exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's a light, enjoyable, polyomino game with legacy elements. I'm not like losing my mind of how amazingly good it is, but it's fun. It's a solid game. Then another play of Divinus, so I got a second play of Divinus in, we got a play of Decrypto in, and hopefully another play of Decrypto in, and then hopefully some things played tonight as well. Nothing yesterday, sadly, I don't think so. I don't think I logged. No, I did play something yesterday. Oh, I have to log that too. Oh yeah, but I'm not going to tell you about that one yet. We'll see. We'll get to that one later. That's going to be what I played this week, which brings us to the schedule of the week, but give me a second, because coffee. Jesus, late. Okay, coffee time. That's not true. Not coffee time. This past week, the week in review, the videos of the week, Saturday was going to be a review for Chronicles of Drunagor Apocalypse. Was it a review? A review? Yes, it was a review. Chronicles of Drunagor Apocalypse overall just brings improvements to Chronicles of Drunagor. For me, the biggest blocker and barrier is still going to be how accessible the setup is and how just much work and fiddliness the game is to basically tear down and set back up when you're ready to dive back in. That's going to be the biggest issue with it. I think for me, I really need a dedicated table area that I can set up and play through, but also the flip side is they are going to be adding more story to the original Chronicles of Drunagor campaign, which means I'm kind of less incentivized to continue now because I want to kind of wait until they have that additional story. So we'll see how that goes, but for myself, I'm in that weird place where I may not play Chronicles of Drunagor again until they actually release the back updated story for the game. So we'll see how that goes out. But yeah, that's going to be Chronicles of Drunagor Apocalypse. Overall, good changes to a game that I already enjoyed, but I still have the issues and concern of setup and accessibility. On Sunday we had 2 videos dedicated to Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. Basically, long story short, is Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition I liked, but I didn't like it compared to Terraforming Mars. And then I was going to get rid of it, and then I came up with a few ideas to make it more like Terraforming Mars, which is not necessarily a good idea for you or whoever. It is a good idea for me, because I want it to be as much like Terraforming Mars as possible. Alex, why are you keeping Ares Expedition if you want it to be like Terraforming Mars? Why not just have Terraforming Mars? A great question that I got a few times in the comments. And the short answer is because Ares Expedition does play in half the time or even less than Terraforming Mars. There is a merit to having that in my collection, assuming I can make it enjoyable enough that I don't constantly feel like I just want to play Terraforming Mars. I believe I have closed that gap a bit by adding more Terraforming Mars-esque aspects to it. It's still not Terraforming Mars, it's still the shorter, faster, accessible version, and it still has the phases of Race for the Galaxy, but just a few small tweaks, house rules effectively, have made it so that I've enjoyed it more. I think playing solo, I will now choose Ares Expedition. Playing 2-player, it kind of depends on the person and how much time we have. Playing 3-player, Terraforming Mars is going to win every time. And playing 4-player, honestly, I mean, it's not bad. I don't think I've played Ares Expedition 4 players, so I can't comment on that one. I will say I don't like playing Terraforming Mars at 4 players. Either way, Ares Expedition is here. Still prefer Terraforming Mars, but Ares Expedition is here to stay. And then later that day on Sunday, I had a solo play of Ares Expedition, just in case you want to go through that. On Monday was to back or not to back. Any particular highlights? I was interested in Aspires and Hildegrad. I don't remember what else I had in it. It's been a long week. I'm blanking completely on what was in my to back or not to back. A bunch of games were in it. I remember that much. I don't remember what the games were. I'm backing some of them. I don't remember what they were. Sorry about that. Usually I take notes on what my highlights were. I forgot to do that this time. Later on Monday, we had a review for Oros. Oros, which is currently on Kickstarter, although it wasn't in the to back or not to back video because Oros went up after that. But Oros is on Kickstarter. I will be covering it possibly this coming week in to back or not to back, possibly the week after. It depends on if we have a to back or not to back. But Oros is a very clever game. It's doing pretty well. I'm surprised it's not doing better, honestly. I thought it would probably hit like 200k within a day or two. I think it hit like 100k. I have to double check. It's doing well, but I thought it would do better, honestly. Just the amount of buzz and hype around the game, and everyone I know who's played it has thought it was incredibly well done. But either way, we'll keep track of Oros. My review on that was basically a really, really solid game. I want it to be a little bit more exciting in some areas, but overall what it does have is tremendously enjoyable. On Tuesday was my, I had a few videos, two videos. I had review board. So my review board video was a video covering my full reviews. So if you want to go ahead and check out basically all my rankings and ratings for any game I have played, the games I have upcoming, the games I hope to review soon, basically the way I track the games that are going through a process of from when they arrive at my door to when I play them to when I want to review them. Well, it's actually the way around. Well, no, it depends. Some games I need to review and then I play them. Some games I play them and then I want to review them to talk about them. So either way, it covered all that. You can also see my rankings for all the games I've ever talked about on the channel. I didn't put things in there that are on my like top 10 lists, but basically everything else, games leaving the collection, reviews, play this, not that, those should all be in that review board. So you can check out that video. Later that day on Tuesday, we had more Divinus gameplay, specifically round 2. There's going to be a review coming for that tomorrow. I did game 1 and game 2, and a review's coming separately. Divinus is launching on, I want to say on Tuesday of next week on GameFound. Wednesday was top 10 under 30 in under 30. It's basically a top 10 games that play in under 30 minutes, and I didn't plan it this way, but the video came in at like 29 and a half minutes, so I called it top 10 under 30 and under 30 because it's clever, so why not? But I did that with Rena. We basically picked our shorter games that we enjoy playing and talked about them because we like doing that. And we made a rule to ourselves to not include too many roll-and writes because otherwise roll-and-writes would be the entire list. And we have a separate list coming up of our top roll-and-writes, so that was that. Later on Wednesday, we had Chronicles of Drunagor, Should You Back It? The short version is from a value stance. You're completely safe, not worried at all. But from a personal stance, it's going to be similar to like Wild Ascent, Levon Rising. It's from a value stance, you're good to go. From a personal stance of how much money are you willing to spend on this dungeon crawler, that is a much harder question. The good news is, unlike Wild Ascent, Levon Rising, where you kind of had to get the expansion content to get the story, they are backdating the story for those who want to buy an upgrade kit to the original. So if you want, you can do that, or alternatively, you can just buy Apocalypse and have more content, more other things. It depends how much money you want to spend. You can go ahead and just get the base game and jump in on that, or you can spend a lot of money. More and more, we are being faced with, $400, $500, $800 buys for these games, and at a certain point, people will have to decide to rein in their spending. Judging by funding totals on these games, we haven't hit that certain point just yet, but it's bound to happen, well, sooner or later. Thursday was a review for the Cassidy game table in the morning, covering the highs, the lows. The short version of it is the Cassidy game table is a pretty decent game table as far as player count, as far as covering different size ranges, has all the typical things. It has a vault, a thinner vault than I would like. It has game trays and cup holders and all those things. It has an unofficial card rack in terms of holding the rails. It's a game table that, I don't know how much you watched on the channel, but when I did the unboxing, I said in the unboxing I was never keeping the table, that I was getting it, and then it was actually going to Shira. Shira's going to be taking the table, but once I had it, I actually kind of did want to keep it at first. The problem is it doesn't fit in the basement very well. It's kind of in a weird situation where it's just wide enough for where I want it to go, that it's a little bit too wide. Even though it's a good table for fitting in a smaller space, it's not the kind of table that fits in a kind of a pass-through space. But overall, solid table, but with concerns and critiques. Specifically, the game vault was my biggest issue with it. It doesn't have the height you'd want to store miniatures, as well as the fact that it's one big solid piece, so you have to figure out where you're storing the top when it's not on the table. So yeah, that's going to be the Cassidy game table review. You can check that out. And then later on Thursday, we had a Legend Academy review. So I did a review for Legend Academy. That's going to be going up on GameFound. Really enjoying that game. It would easily be a 5 out of 5 for me, except they really need to balance it before I can give it a 5 out of 5. It's one of those weird situations with prototypes where, like, it's interesting because I'm not going to give you details yet because it's going to be coming in on its own channel, but I know Crackle has a thing as well with a game that they love the prototype and then they don't love the final game. Prototypes are always this weird space where you can love the thing you enjoy, and then the final game's different. And that can go both ways. You could also be mediocre on the prototype and then the final game's better. It's always this weird space to be reviewing or covering something that's not actually finished. And usually I'm okay with that. It is the process that we live in. Ideally, I want to give you information about these games when it's time to purchase them. But that said, the information may not be complete or full because things can change. But it's particularly in Legend Academy because of the fact that I'm really, really enjoying it, but most of my plays have had unbalanced combos. So until I play a game where that's no longer a frequent issue, I have to rate it accordingly, which is why I gave it a 4 to 5. I would, to be very clear, if it was the final product, I'd still keep it and play it and enjoy it, but some games would have unbalanced runaway combos, and it is what it is. So that's why I kind of want to wait to see how that plays out, but overall it's a 4 to 5, easily poised to be a 5 to 5 once they clean that up. Then on Friday we had a new fun series on the channel called Do You Need It? It's called Do You Need That Game? I think it's called Do You Need That Game? But basically the idea is, or do you need, I don't remember the name of it. Either way, something along the lines of Do You Need It? But it's basically a video covering all the games I've played and reviewed in the past month, and trying to be a bit more critical in the sense of not in the game. Like, I may love a game, I may give a game a 5 out of 5, but is it doing anything innovative? Is it doing anything different? Is it something, if you were saying, hey, Alex, I only have space for one deck building, area control, whatever kind of genre it is you're looking at, if you wanted something in that genre, would I recommend that game? If you're trying to have a very condensed, small, tiny game library, would I recommend that game? And I'm trying to be a bit more critical of where a game fits in the greater gaming space. So it's a new series. If you like it, let me know, because if you like it, I'll keep doing it. It will probably be a monthly video series, but only if people actually seem to enjoy it. But we'll see on that one. That was going to be that. And then that brings us to today. Later today, we have Dice Throne. Today we have this video, and then later today at 4 Eastern Standard Time, we'll have Dice Throne gameplay with my wife. My wife and I went head-to-head on basically 2-player regular Dice Throne. We did that because we're preparing to go into Dice Throne Adventures, probably filmed and played and all that, but also to eventually review once we get far enough into that. Next week there'll be a few different videos going up. Like I said already, we have a Divinus review going up on Sunday. We also have, earlier on Sunday, I have what I think is an interesting video, but may or may not be, we'll see, about the nature of legacy games and why they, like infinitely replayable legacy games, why people don't replay them, and what we can do to potentially make them replayable, like actually replayable and engaging with them as you go on. Hopefully we'll have a 2-back or not to back. I don't know if there are enough games on Kickstarter to have that. If we don't, then I'll probably be doing something along the lines of 10 Kickstarters I wish I would have backed. Basically, last week or 2 weeks ago I did 10 Kickstarters I shouldn't have backed, so this is going to be the reverse of that. 10 Kickstarters I wish I would have backed, which is an interesting list to go through as well. If it's not this week, it'll be some other week. It will eventually happen. And then at some point this week, I believe I have a collaboration video, which is going to be top 10 in the top 200 that I need to play, or something along those lines. Either way, it will be there. This is part usually where I end the video. Before I do, we're going to be talking about the games on the table. Short version is this week I'm kind of just want to play a bunch of old favorites with myself and my wife. We'll see if I actually get to it, but old is relative because Paleo is actually new. So, I mean, they're all new-ish, but Everdell is going to be the oldest here. But I don't know which one of these will hit the table. I imagine 1 or 2. I imagine not all 4. But I'd love to play Everdell. I'd love to play all the Lost Ruins of Arnak, Paleo, Aquatica. My wife has played all of these except for Paleo. I'm intrigued whether she'll like it. I don't know if it's her type of game. We'll see. I'll find out. But well, if we play that one, I'll find out. But either way, these are all some of these games I'd like to get to the table this week. We'll see how that actually goes. For the topic of the week. Topic of the week is going to be, well, like I said already, it's going to be things I've watched. So, I'm talking about specifically, and spoilers, by the way. Straight up spoilers. I'm not trying to go into spoilers, but I'm not hiding it either. So let's talk about Loki, Invincible, Black Widow. Let's try to localize it. So, Black Widow. I watched Black Widow this past week. I'm pausing a bit. I'm going to take a drink, give you time to rapidly run to your computer and tap the spacebar in case you don't want spoilers. It's going to be a spoiler light conversation. So I'm not heavily going into spoilers, but I'm not trying to avoid them either. I enjoyed Black Widow. I thought it was a good movie. I didn't think it was a great movie. The way I put it is it's probably my favorite MCU movie from the category of MCU movies that I don't want to watch again. Meaning, the MCU has a lot of great movies. It also has a lot of mediocre movies. People sometimes forget that. The MCU has gone through phases. And the MCU, I think that Black Widow is my favorite. It's the best one by far from those that I don't have an interest in watching again. I think I got caught up a bit too much in family drama. The actual story was, they had like some good humor at some points, but a lot of weird family drama that was good for like cheap laughs, but also was just serious enough that it wasn't like rewatchable cheap laughs. Had some good moments, had some good fight scenes. Nothing particularly amazing. If I were, I'm not going to rate a movie. I don't rate movies on this channel, but I enjoyed it. I don't need to watch it again. I liked it. I like the little spoiler at the end, especially coming from someone who's watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So, now you have a little bit of a character showing up in both, which is fun. But yeah, I like Black Widow. Was not in love with it. I enjoyed it. I totally see why there's mixed opinions on social media. I see people who are like completely disappointed, and I've seen people who are, loving it. I like it. It's good. I enjoy it. Loki, on the other hand, Loki is awesome. I don't know if you've seen the trailers or the images going around on social media, but we have like confirmation that Loki, Scarlet Witch, and Doctor Strange are all going to be in the Multiverse of Madness, which is awesome because I am very intrigued to see how that plays out. Honestly, I think Marvel is really, even though I didn't love Black Widow, they're doing an amazing job tying together all these TV shows, these universes, these movies. I'm very excited to see what Phase 4 brings. We're doing so without some of the heavy hitters of the MCU. I'm fascinated. Also, of course, is Marvel What If. If you haven't seen the trailer for Marvel What If, check that out. It's going to be a bunch of like alternate timelines in a cartoon form. Another way to bring Iron Man back from the dead. There are a lot of fun things. The MCU is like a guilty pleasure for me. I don't watch a lot of movies consistently, but it's been going on for 10 years. It's ambitious in what it's done. And that's basically it. I'm not going to heavily go into there because it's late at night, and this video is also pretty late. Invincible, I highly recommend watching that. That's going to be on Amazon. If you like The Boys, if you watch The Boys and like The Boys, definitely watch Invincible. It's kind of more the same, but in a cartoon form. If you haven't watched The Boys, then what are you doing here? Pause this video, stop, and go watch The Boys. The Boys is excellent. But yeah, that's going to be the Invincible. Invincible is going to be more of a, and I would say, I think The Boys is better. I'm pretty sure it is. But Invincible, it took me till like the third episode before I went from, I'm intrigued and I see where this is being compared to The Boys, to wow, the show is like really, really solid. And I think they ended it on a really good note too, meaning towards the end of the first season, no spoilers, towards the end of the first season, I thought that they would not be able to tie everything up in a way that really incentivized me to have the gravitas of the moment, to feel like I needed to come back for season 2. I thought it would close up and clean up in a way that season 2 was kind of just not intriguing. But they managed to close it up really well. Now I'm really looking forward to season 2, and I want to see how that goes. But overall, I'm enjoying superhero stuff, apparently. There are other things I want to watch that are non-superhero. I want to see Gunpowder Milkshake, is that what it's called? I plan on watching that with my wife. I really like what's her name from Doctor Who and from Guardians of the Galaxy. Nebula? Yeah, Nebula. I really like the actress who plays Nebula, or Amy, whatever it is for Doctor Who. But overall, we'll see how that goes over there. Anyways, that has been your week in review. A little bit of not really topic of the week, so much as just talking about movies and TV shows I've been watching and enjoying. Overall, by the way, Loki is fantastic. Loki is fantastic. Scarlet Witch, what's it called? It's called something else. Whatever it's called is it called Scarlet Witch? No, it's called something else. What is it called? I'm blanking it. But either way, the one with her is also fantastic. I really wasn't as into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It was solid, but not overly impressive. But all in all, that's going to be part of the MCU idea. You're going to have some that are really amazing for some people are going to like others. All in all, they're all worth paying attention to. Until next time, I am Alex Radical from BoardGameCo. Thanks for sticking around. I will go off and try to play a game right now. Even though it's late at night, I'd like to play something. We'll see if I actually do or not. But until next time, have a good one.